I collect graphic tees. They are my fetish. It's one of my hobbies, one of my interests. I don't get just any graphic tee either. Sometimes I get it for the art, but mostly it's from things and commodities that I engaged in, whether it was now as an adult or something that I grew up with. I know it, I remember it, I was involved with it. I'm a 90s kid, and I pride myself on that. People are suckers for nostalgia, and I most certainly am one of them. Of all the graphic t-shirts, there is one in particular that I have always wanted but have never been able to get. It's from a show I watched as a kid on PBS, and it was by kids, for kids. That is the Zoomer shirt from Zoom, airing every weekday in the after-school lineup. Kids show activities and discussions ranging from games, science experiments, to making food and even putting on plays. I always wanted the signature shirt that they wore in some of their activities that had the Zoom logo on it. Being a die-hard fan, I think of it as a personal quest to have this shirt in my wardrobe. I've scoured the internet hoping that it would pop up somewhere. Luckily, PBS Kids still has the Zoom site up. They have a number there that actually says you can call and order the shirt. I'm hoping that'll give me the solution I'm looking for.
Thank you for calling PBS. Customer service, how can I help you?
I was on the pbskids.org site, their show Zoom, but I was wondering, do you guys still continuing to sell the shirt?
Give me 1 second. The show's called Zoom, Zoom.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't look like we have it. No, I'm not seeing anything for that show.
Oh. Okay. All right then. Well, thank you.
No problem. Have a great day.
It turned out they didn't have the shirt to buy. I really want the shirt bad. I didn't think it would ever come to this, but I'm motivated enough to actually try to make the shirt myself since I can't find it anywhere else. It'll be a challenge because it's something that I've never done before, but I'm confident that I can make it work. I searched for as many images of the logo as I could find. There's plenty, but none that I can work with to design and print to a shirt. The dimensions are very small. I can use them as a reference, but they'll have to be remade in a more usable file format. Luckily, I know someone who can help me out with that. That person I know is Dan. Dan has been in the multimedia and graphic design industry for over a decade. He's done different kinds of design work, and I have complete faith in him that he'll be able to recreate this logo. If not exactly, certainly close to the real thing.
So I'm going to select this file here, which is a color version of what we have, and we'll just scale it into position to use to work with. But it's enough for us to work with in the conversion process. Well, really, it depends on how complicated the original graphic is. Typically, what we do is we take the original graphic, and of course we'd like to have a high resolution file because the lower resolution files can be more challenging to work with. Sometimes that's all we have to work with, and we just have to try to do our best at recreating that logo. But we need to put it into a vector format in case we need to make a design for stitching or make a design for a t-shirt or other things. The process is basically called tracing. What we're doing is we're taking the image that we have, and we're creating the lines ourselves and tracing them in the program to essentially redraw the graphic. We have two versions that are being provided to us. One is a black and white version, which is going to be a little bit easier to work with, and we'll actually start off the process by tracing that item first. The more challenging version is the one that has a striped type pattern within the borders of the shape. And what we're going to do is we're going to put those in at the very end of the process. There's our stripe. I'm going to copy this orange color here, and we're going to use this as a base coat for the colored sample. That's probably about as big as we want to get it on the screen.
So Dan was able to recreate the logo, and he put it in an Illustrator vector file for me. And he made 2 of the basic logos, which is real nice, so I have more options for customization. They both look pretty accurate. I think he did a good job. So now that I have it, I'm confident to take it to a shop now and have it designed and printed. Looking locally, I had a lot of choices for printing a custom shirt. Customistic looked like the best option for me. I was able to speak to the shop's owner, Angie, and based on the options they have for customization, I think it'll serve me well to have the shirt printed at this shop.
That's kind of one of our favorite things to do in the store. We kind of tell everybody that we manufacture physical manifestations of people's passions. So basically anybody can come in and they can get whatever they want made. So whatever they are idealizing in their head, we can design on the computer and hopefully make the things look better than what they originally thought that they wanted, or in your case, try and make it as close as possible.
Another thing that's good is that online there's still video and pictures of the Zoomers in their t-shirts to give us a realistic look so we can mimic the actual thing. I spent hours looking at scenes from every episode I could find of Zoom to get a feel for how it was designed and made. The exact size of the logo, the color of the logo, the colors that intersect with the logo, what color shirt.
But just tell me what you think of these.
It's interesting because they're all pressed really low. Like in this one, that's like 6 or 7 inches down from the collar.
Say this is like 99, a 2000
Yeah.
era. Do you think this is kid-size shirts, or does it look like adult size?
Oh no, these are definitely adult size shirts. Kids shirts are a lot shorter. The only thing that's different between like a kid's large and an adult small is 4 inches of length, and so I think this is definitely adult shirts.
What about the texture of the actual graphic? Do you think that's vinyl or ink or?
It's definitely either screen print or vinyl. The colors are super vibrant, which I think back then you could have only gotten with vinyl.
Looking at that, does that look like vinyl, or that might be screen print?
See, that's what I was just looking at right now, because the thing is that if that was screen print and these were 20-year-old shirts, that would be a lot more cracked, and you can see the wrinkles in it, which makes me think that it's just really thick vinyl. I'm used to people bringing in really bad graphics and us having to make a bunch of assumptions about like how it's actually supposed to look. That's kind of like one of the things that we're known for being able to do, is being able to look at, you know, a graphic and see what the original intention of that graphic was supposed to be. But it takes 10 times as long for us trying to actually replicate something, especially something so old, when we don't have a good representation of it, but we do our best.
Being that I'm coming in with a graphic file already in vector format, I'm already a few steps ahead in the process. And it's extra help that she's going to have actual examples to take from to determine the specifications for the shirt.
I like how they're all wearing like shirts underneath their shirts that are the accent color.
Yeah, that was another thing, which made me believe that it's not their actual shirt size anyway.
Well, it's so low on their shirts, to make it look similar, I would maybe say let's do 5 inches the width of how big to make it. It looks like it's about 10 or 11 inches on the shirts, but it's gonna look smaller on you if we make it that size. So we'll play around with it on the program and see what you think.
Looking over all the examples, we both feel they were made with vinyl, so we'll be using vinyl to make these shirts. So I have the choice of 2 logos. Looking at most of the footage from the shows, it really seems like the solid color logo was used in the shirts, and the stripe logo was used more in the studio set as well as some of the graphics. So for this first go around, we're going to be working primarily with the solid color logo.
So let's look at your graphic. Now if we're doing like...
Something I noted also is mostly all the shirts had a standard drop shadow on the logo.
So I'm gonna throw this in here so that we can just look at it side by side.
When I had Dan make the graphics, I didn't have him put in a drop shadow because I wanted to leave that optional for design.
That's not a perspective, that is a straight up drop shadow. Because see, I'm seeing a gap here, but maybe not. Almost something like that. So this one, I think that we're more down, and this one we're more this way. Let's look at it on the actual shirt because we have to line it up anyways by hand.
So the position of the drop shadow can be simplified and locked down. I'm not stressing too much on that. A real challenge is trying to clarify the color of the shirts and logos, especially the colors that intersect the letters.
Isn't TV like RGB, and it's really hard to pick up neon colors in RGB? And so I think it's coming across more dull when it's by itself, but when it's like over in this picture, that does look like a lime green.
And what about like the color of that logo on that shirt? Like, do you know the intersect of that is yellow?
I mean, I want to say that I think that it's hot pink.
The video and pictures are not of an ultra high quality, and it's a little difficult for us to try to find the closest resemblance. I know Zoom was a studio production. I do know that studio and camera lighting can produce different colors from what it actually is.
Well, that's my hot pink. Maybe not. Maybe it's red. Because that's like maroon. You think it's like a maroon?
Yeah.
That's just such a weird color.
Yeah. That's obviously yellow, and that's orange, and then the intersect parts look like that might be a light blue.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not even like really light blue, and that these colors.
Like it's a shade. Like it's
yeah.
a shade. It's a shade. So it's not directly that, but it's more of a shade or a tint of it. I didn't know if that was white or a shade of a really, really, really light green.
But I think that if you look at his skin in this picture, it's like obviously this coloring's messed up. It's like really bright.
In the studio. Some of those, it don't look like it's even an orange shirt, but it is. It is an orange shirt.
Yeah. So with that, do we assume that this is supposed to be hot pink, or do we assume it's supposed to be red?
I want to go with perhaps it being hot pink.
Okay.
How about this shirt? Is this maroon? That's not a red. Yeah, that is not a red. And look at that. Look like that might be a type of lime green.
Like a safety green?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that this is all a specific tone of shirt. So it's like the light blue, the hot pink, the lime green, the safety green. And I think that if we stick with the fluorescence, that's probably what they were going for. I'm gonna grab a card so you can see. Because the closest thing that I have to this in the store is this heliconia. And I would say that maybe the tone looks like this antique heliconia, only this is like heathered. But without it being heathered, maybe berry. I don't think that that's right either. I don't even think they make this color shirt anymore. It might be this color and it just didn't pick up this color because of how fluorescent it is. But it goes back to like the RGB thing. And like we agreed that this one color, sapphire, I think Daisy is exact. I think that's clearly orange.
This first round, I'm printing 6 t-shirts. In terms of picking out the design set for the shirts, it's open for debate, but to me it always seemed like the standard Zoomer shirt was the light sky blue with the orange solid color logo and the yellow intersects. So that'll definitely be in the printing pool. The other designs are what I picked out based on what I saw most frequent in the show. Angie has her own colors available, so we'll be able to make a decision on what we find is the closest match to it. It's just for starters, but if all goes well in this journey, I'll definitely print and design some more.
So let's lay these all out. that. So we're gonna nest all these together and print out all the black first. So we basically have to make the image something that our plotter, our machine that's actually going to cut out the words, can read. So we vectorize the image and then we plot the image from the computer to the plotter. After we're done with that, we take the image out and we take the vinyl over to our weeding station and we'll weed out all the extra stuff around from what actually needs to go onto the t-shirt. And then we'll go over, we'll put a halfway mark in the t-shirt and then we'll press it for our specifications for our vinyl, let it cool down, tear off the application paper, and then you have a finished t-shirt. Let's get all those shirts together.
We've did all we can do. Now she is away at work making the shirt. We've narrowed it down to the specifications that we both think that'll look good for the shirt. I'm trying to make it look exactly like the shirt, but it doesn't have to be all the way exact. I mean, there is some room for it to be good enough. I can bend the rules a little bit or add my own design or my own touch to it, because that's what a lot of graphic tees do anyway. I am sort of a stickler for exactness, that exactness of it. But some subtle differences can be made. It can be okay. I won't complain. Either way, I think I'll still be happy with the design. While we wait, I just want to explain my whole outlook on Zoom, watching it in my childhood and looking back on it now as an adult. In my opinion, I think it was one of the best kid shows of my generation. Zoom to me always seemed like it had a reality show appeal rather than a rehearsed stage production. To me, it was just so inspiring seeing kids like me be active, creative, artistic, social, and just involved in their community. I remember their main motto, if you like what you see, turn off your TV and do it, was to simply just motivate and inspire. Because essentially, if you tuned in to watch Zoom, you were tuning in to learn and to see new things. Showing how to cook, do experiments, play new games, as well as just have a discussion with other kids about experiences and social situations that you deal with every day. I think about the world we live in now and how different it was from when Zoom was airing. The world is more connected now and ideas are shared so fast. I think about when they did the 2 special broadcasts of Zoom about September 11th. Hearing kids like me react to the terrorist attacks and the aftermath it left on the country. I relate that to how kids now see that on a daily basis, and violence is now becoming all too common. I remember the Boston bombing, and the first thing that popped in my mind was trying to figure out what I related to Boston, and it was Zoom. Zoom was produced out of Boston. The Zoomers lived in that community, thinking how Boston's kids would respond to have something like that happen in their own community. But I don't see too much of an outlet like that anymore. So I appreciate Zoom now and seeing it as being rich and filled with content that motivated and inspired an entire generation. Are you gonna get started? Moment of truth.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Say what?
It looks like that might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, thanks.
Was it weird seeing it in person?
Yeah, it's weird seeing it. Yeah, that looks like it. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. That's why I'm laughing, because it just seeing it actually in person. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Good?
Yeah, good. I don't believe it. I made the shirt. I don't think I got the exact colors down, but seeing it up in close, I feel so satisfied and complete in my journey. I've wanted this shirt all my life, now I finally got it. I'm still just so in shock and in awe of being able to wear it, actually put it on.
I think that t-shirts are a really good way for people to express themselves and for them to be able to show off what they care about and for them to be able to start conversations. I think that there's very few other ways that you can get as much bang for your buck for that much money, for you to advertise yourself, for you to be able to share your thoughts on something. And that's why I really like making t-shirts. And I get to hear about all these different things, like these cool TV shows that I had no idea about from 20 years ago, and how much people cared about them, so yeah.
Another piece added to the wardrobe. I'm not finished here either. I certainly plan on pressing up more. A physical manifestation of my reality now exists. Abin Thabits Thabi Abin. Abaim Daban Daban. Thubank Yabu Fabu wubatchubing. Pabis Abin Zaboom.